Welcome to the Osasu Show. Thank you for joining us in today's episode. Youth is a stage we all pass through in life. It's a stage where bursting with energy, dreams, and the discovery of oneself and setting of values. My guest today is an accomplished doctor, a man whose vision keeps him young and also touches and delivers purpose to many lives. You'll find out who that is shortly. My name is Osasu Ibnadian, and I am your host.
By your side, I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Yeah. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine.
Can you imagine losing a child because you couldn't afford 250 naira for malaria treatment? Can you imagine where you have to watch a life of an infant seeping away because of an unknown terminal disease? Can you imagine being born with a physical defect that can be corrected by simple surgery but can't afford it? For some, these situations can only be imagined. For others, it is indeed a reality. So many issues with so many faces attached. I'm sure you're glad that that isn't your situation. But there are many that can say the same. Together, we can go the extra mile. No matter the terrain, no matter how far. With joy in your heart, you will know that you are being a blessing to somebody else out there.
With me is Dr. Charles Ononiwu, a maxillofacial surgeon, or simply put, he specializes in treatment of facial and oral diseases and is the founder of Youth with a Purpose, YWAP, as it's fondly called. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So how would you describe YWAP to someone just hearing about it for the first time?
YWAP is a youth group, and it's a youth-driven group that impacts other young people by doing unorthodox things. That's just basically that. Mm-hmm. And our major vision is to be a prime inspiration to positive changes in young people in Nigeria and globally.
Okay, so why start in Kaduna? Because YWAP was founded in Kaduna, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so why start in Kaduna and not another state of the country?
Well, primarily by the time I felt I should start it, I felt a strong nudge in my heart that I should start it, and I believe it was God that was nudging me to reach out to the young people. I was working in ABU Teaching Hospital, or I'm still working in ABU Teaching Hospital, and that was where I lived. And I had to start from where I live. We actually started from my living room, and we just 12 of us the first time we started. And somehow it has grown to involve so many people all over the world now.
That's amazing. So your organization has an outreach program called 8th Mile. Can you tell us a little about that?
Okay, 8 Mile program is, 8 Mile simply put, is just going the extra mile. And it was coined, the name was coined by one of our members, Fatihi, and we believe that if you go 7th mile, is doing what you're expected to do. And they said the extra mile that you need to go is the 8th mile. That's actually how the name came about. But primarily, it's a youth-driven community outreach, rural community outreach. And what we do is we identify community, a rural community that we can assist by giving free medical and surgical help, charity things like clothing, baby food, insecticide-treated mosquito nets, and we also try to reach out to orphans and children in those areas whose parents cannot actually take good care of them in school. We meet them somewhere midway, and in some cases we actually taken up, given some of them scholarship, taking up their education. And when we get into such areas and see schools that need things like books and educational materials, we actually go out and make sure that we supply those to those schools.
That's amazing. So how do you decide what children, because there are lots of people that are in need in Nigeria, so how do you decide who gets the surgeries and who gets the finances from you?
Yeah, what we actually do is that by the time we identify a community we want to go into, we find a hospital, if they have a hospital, a primary health center where we can, camp and then work, where if we need to do surgeries, we do that. And then once we set up our camp, we usually stay there for about 2 weeks, set up our camp, and of course we would have gotten in touch with the district heads, liaise with them. They're actually the ones that go out to publicize it among their community.
Okay.
And the people come. So when they come and we start treating them, we are now able to isolate the ones that need surgical attention, within the facilities that we have. Those that we can give the surgical treatments that the facility that are in that area can provide.
Okay.
And by the time we run the clinics, we see those that need to be seen, those that we need to refer to tertiary institutions. I work in a tertiary institution. We organize and get them to tertiary institutions where they can be taken care of. But the primary, problems, ailments, we attend to.
Can you name some of those primary ailments that you'll be able to handle?
Okay, a typical example, when we were in Mambila Plateau, I think is the most treacherous trip we've made. We didn't actually know what we were going to meet there. Somebody just called us and said, hey, these people here, they need you.
Yes.
And we put ourselves together and headed, we about 30 of us headed for Mambila Plateau, and we're there. We went to quite a number of communities, Mbanga, Tania, just beside Cameroon, Kusuku, Gembu. We camped in Gembu. I think Gembu has the only hospital that they have in that whole southern and local government area there. So we got to the place, and in our consultations, we just saw that we had adult cleft lips all over the place.
Wow.
And for us down here, apparently that's my specialty, correcting facial deformities. And for us here, we correct such deformities actually when the patient is about 3 months old, 6 months, But you get there, you see a young girl that is about 18 years old with clefts, cleft deformity. So immediately, we swung into action. I started repairing the clefts, in that place. So basically, we see, all those facial deformities we repair. We also go with general surgeons who repair, a lot of hernias. We do quite a number of herniorrhaphies, do a lot of appendicectomies, and we take out quite a lot of lumps, lipomas and all that. So those are the ones that we can do within such facilities.
Okay.
But as I said earlier on, those that we need tertiary attention, we refer them and we follow them up to the tertiary institutions.
Okay.
The recent one we attended somewhere in Imo State, we got there thinking that we were going to see just very few patients, because in that particular community, there is no hospital.
Wow.
There is no resident nurse in that community.
Wow. Where in Imo State is this?
It's called Oka in Iselambano, local government area.
Okay.
No hospital of any form. No resident nurse, not to talk of a pharmacist or a doctor in the place.
Wow.
So we got there. I thought, okay, since there is no hospital there, we just walk for 1 week and come back. And I had in mind that probably we see just about probably 200 patients, and we got there the first day, we saw about 427 patients.
Wow.
Okay, and then what was predominant there, because I'm answering the question of the cases we see. What was predominant there were cataracts.
Wow.
We saw over 250 patients with cataracts of different maturation stages. Okay, and I felt so sad that something that is as little as cataract, and I asked them. I said, "Why don't you go and take this out?" The closest place they can take it out is Owerri. Owerri is about 45 minutes, 1 hour drive. And one of them told me, said, "My son, I don't have money to transport myself to Owerri, not to talk of paying for the surgeries." And for us, it's a challenge. What we are looking forward to now is setting up a clinic, setting up a hospital there, and going to do the cataract surgeries. So, what I'm saying is that as the different communities, you see different ailments in different communities. When we're in Gombe is barely 2-3 hours drive from here. It's in Kuje Area Council. And we got there, we saw a lot of hernias. There were so many, So we now had to go in and started doing, herniographies, brought in the general surgeons, and, we did quite a lot of herniographies there. So depending on the place you go, there are predominant, ailments in those areas. And of course, we have the general medical issues, like if you are in a demography where you have old people, like this place we went to in Imo State, you have so many of them, they are hypertensive, so many of them are diabetic, in fact, there are some with over 15 diabetic feet there, and these are the things that we encounter. So what we usually do, we usually send some people ahead of time, find out what are the diseases that are common in this area, so that we know the specialties we're going with. Okay. But in some cases, when we go there, we see something totally different. So but we try to equip ourselves as much as possible to attend to whatever we see. And
that's leading up to my next question, actually. Outreach programs are very capital intensive, logistics, finance, personnel, it takes a lot to put on a program and a successful one. So how do you go about doing that? Well,
primarily, for now, we believe that before you can start shouting and start asking people to give you something, do what you can do with what you have. In our team, we have we have about 27 volunteer doctors in the team now, and we're still building it up. And each person puts down his own money. And we also have YWAP members all over. Once they know that we're going for 8 Mile, quite a number of them are putting down something, paying something. And then we have few churches that also support us. Okay, we have Victoria Christian Fellowship Church in Lekki, supporting us. We have International Church Abuja supporting us. Here and there, they put in their own little bit, but we start from ourselves. Like for me, whenever I go for such programs, I empty my account. It has to go in. I can't tell another person to bring money when I've not brought what I have. So basically, for now, that's the much that we have gotten. I think those 2 churches I mentioned are just the churches that have given us something, but essentially most of it is borne by YWAP.
Very interesting. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back on the Osasu Show. The Osasu Show would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the President-elect, General Muhammadu Buhari. We look forward to the change you and the All Progressive Congress have promised us by the improvement of our economy, creation of jobs, eradication of poverty and corruption, involvement of women and young people in government, and more. We would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and the People's Democratic Party. We applaud you for your bravery and humility, for conceding defeat and allowing Nigeria to thrive as a true democracy. President Jonathan, your name will live forever in our history books. To all the candidates who ran for elective offices, we thank you for allowing this to be a free and fair election. To our security forces, we thank you for putting Nigeria first by keeping her citizens safe. To the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and Professor Atahiru Jaga, we thank you for your transparency and timeliness. To all Nigerians who came out to vote, We thank you for proving to the world that Nigeria is one country and we will continue to remain united, irrespective of our differences. May God bless us all, and may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Welcome back to the Osasu Show. If you're just tuning in, my guest today is Dr. Charles Ononiwu, a humanitarian whose 8th Mile project has been reaching out to several communities across Nigeria to help the underprivileged. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
As a doctor, your schedule must be very, very, very tight and challenging. So how do you make time to go out to these outreach programs?
What we usually do is that we schedule the outreaches, so that we can take our leave during that period and spend our leave, in the outreach stations.
Okay.
So for now, we are running it some, quarterly. Some of them we run for 1 week and some we run for 2 weeks. So depending on the one we are running, like for me, I have 4 weeks in a year. So split my leave, we take one, attend to the other, to the outreach, and that's basically how I'm able to handle that bit. But I also believe that if you're passionate about something, you'll be able to make time
for it. So how do you balance family life and career and also the outreach program as well?
Coincidentally, my wife is also a doctor, so whenever I'm going into the bush, she goes with me.
She goes with you.
Yeah, she sees
Amazing.
All the children there, it's pediatrics, and so for us, it's something we are passionate about, because you get there, you see so many children that are malnourished, and all they need, the parents need, is just basic health education. You see quite a number of them with some, diseases that you wouldn't spend much really to get that ailment treated. So balancing this with family life, I think we've kind of grown into it, and we are loving it. Our children, they're excited about 8 Mile, and whenever they hear about 8 Mile, they're actually excited. So we're also teaching them to love, to make sacrifice for the less privileged, and that has helped us. Also balancing it with my work, as I've said, is not much different from what I do in the hospitals. So I think we're good.
So would you give advice to all the doctors out there who intend to follow your path to marry other doctors, so their spouses will be understanding? Well, it depends on what each person is called to do. Those who might want to follow my path, if you have if they have wives that are doctors, it makes it easier. They might also have wives that are of other health professions, But I wouldn't say it becomes, a kind of a criterion before you go into search, to make sure you find a doctor to marry. No. No. But I would want to encourage the doctors out there. There is down there in the rural areas, and you'll be surprised in urban slums around us. The people live in abject poverty, and many diseases emanate from poverty. And most of them don't even have money to go to hospitals. Like in Gobe, when we went to Gobe, I got there, I said, there's a beautiful primary health center here. And I asked them, do patients come? They said, oh, they come once in a while. I said, why? They said, because they are poor. I said, so how much does it cost to treat a patient with malaria here? They told me, it's just probably money for 2 bottles of Coke or, thereabout. And so I asked them, I said, so if I come here with free medical services, they will come? They said, sure, they will come. And we got there, we saw over 1,000 patients. Wow.
So what I'm saying in essence is this: for the doctors that are there who have the heart, because you need to have the heart, you should go out there, help somebody. It's not every time that everything is monetized. Go out there, give out your talent, give out your skill for the people that are there. They may not be able to tell you thank you, but when you look into their eyes, all they're saying is, I don't have anything to give to you, but I'm grateful. For me, that satisfies me, and I think that is the major thing that drives me in this project.
Wow, that's amazing. As you know, the Osasu Show, our slogan here is bridging the gap. So can you tell the viewers what they can do to get involved in your project specifically?
Okay, thank you. I would want to stage it. One, you can get involved by going. If you're a medical personnel and you want to offer your services, you can get in touch with us, because most of the medical personnel that go are volunteers. So you can volunteer and come along with us. If you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're a pharmacist, if you're a medical personnel, you're welcome on board. And if you say, I cannot go, but I can send some things, our hands are open. You can send the materials. We'll go with clothes for the people, the poor people that are in those places. We go with wrappers for the widows. So if you can get us brand new wrappers for the widows, we'll be very, very grateful. And we believe, like in the last community we went to, they need a hospital. The roads leading to the nearby communities that have probably one health center or the other, the roads are bad. And for me now, that is urgent in our mind. We need to build a hospital for that community. So if you can do that for us, please come on board. And most of the time too, we go to terrains that are very, very rugged, bad roads and all that. So we actually go with four-wheel drive cars, things like trucks. If you can give us trucks, we'll appreciate it. I think with this, we are actually good to go. And above all, I will say that if you are there, please look around you. There's somebody that might have a need. Start from that person.
Thank you, sir. Let's take a short break as we explore the Spotlight segment of the Osasu Show. Today, we're featuring CEO and founder of the Performing Arts School of Nigeria and the Studio Abuja, Ononiwu Majadunumi, who is bridging the gap through creative arts. Art is a form of expression by the means of music, drama, painting, and more all around the world. Anyone with an imagination can truly appreciate an amazing work of art, regardless of age, gender, or social status. Take a look.
The studio in the Performing Arts School in Nigeria was founded in 2012, and we've since gained ground by working with hundreds of kids. We've partnered and worked with dozens of schools in Abuja and nationwide. We've also managed to work with a number of big brands.
We support initiatives like FIPAC, definitely, and festivals and things that's happening here in Abuja. So I think it's a great thing.
I founded the Performing Arts School of Nigeria and this studio because I wanted to give Nigerian children somewhere where their talents are being encouraged, somewhere where they can come to and they're being appreciated and they're channeling all their extra energy into something productive outside of the academic classroom. So basically what we do is we find talent, we build upon it, and we encourage it. So we're serving to uplift the culture of performing arts in our Nigerian society.
FIPAC serves as a platform for exhibiting talents of a particular demographic that we're very, very keenly interested in. I like to call them young adults. Nobody wants to be called kids again. Just by observing the demographic of our customer base in our stores, realize that a large chunk of those that actually want to, for instance, write out their own cards are actually young adults.
I wanted to give these kids something to look forward to every single year, a place where they can showcase their talent and their hard work on a bigger scale and be rewarded for it. What I love most about last year's FIPAC was the smiles on all those kids' faces. Like when they announced the winners, I was standing on stage, and at one point I thought the stage was gonna give in. Like that's what drives me, like the excitement on those kids' faces. And that's what drives our passion, knowing that these kids have worked so hard for something, had the courage to get on stage and showcase all their talents, and they're so inspired and so excited when they are rewarded for it.
We watched a video in band class where a guy was explaining that band students or students that can read and play music actually have better access to both their right side and their left side of their brain. So I feel like I can carry that aspect on with me throughout my life.
What I've noticed is that, especially in Abuja, it's really easy to become isolated within your community. You become comfortable in that bubble. So I think the competition is definitely a great way for students to get outside of that bubble and have those experiences with other students. The competition part of it really adds another level of excitement, and the kids really get a kick out of that.
What I hope for this year's event is for us to reach more people. We need to reach more children in more schools. We need to reach more stakeholders and people who are appreciative of the arts and who are ready to align their objectives with ours in order to see this industry grow. We need to reach more people and build a snowball effect.
It's been amazing having on the show Dr. Charles Ononiwu, whose 8 Mile project through YWAP engages in rural outreach to the less privileged, and most of its volunteers being young people in our society. We hope you've been inspired by this interview and you would consider helping to bridge the gap in your capacity. Thank you for watching. Tune in same time next week, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Osasu Show. To take on sponsorship opportunities, you can call or email us at the information below. From me, it is bye for now, and from Dr. Charles,
God bless.
take care.